Welcome dear students to lecture 2 of module 4. In the previous lecture we have learnt about the Euler's torsion function which is needed for Euler's theorem. So here let us see what is Euler's theorem. Euler's theorem states that for every a and n that are relatively prime, a to the power of phi of n is congruent to 1 mod n, where phi of n is the torsion function. Let us see the proof of this. Now, the above Euler's theorem, that is a to the power phi of n, is congruent to 1 mod n, is true if n is prime, because in that case phi of n, that is a torsion function, will be equal to n minus 1, and Fermat's theorem holds. However, it also holds for any integer n. Now, we know that phi of n is a number of positive integers less than n that are relatively prime to n. Here let us consider the set of such integers labeled as r is equal to set of x1, x2 up to x of phi of n. That is, each element of xi of r is a unique positive integer less than n with GCD of xi n is equal to 1. Now we multiply each element by a mod n. So we get s equal to ax1 mod n, ax2 mod n up to ax phi of n mod n. The set S is a permutation of R by the following line of reasoning. 1. Because A is relatively prime to n and xi is relatively prime to n, axi must also be relatively prime to n. Thus, all the members of S are integers that are less than n and that are relatively prime to n. Second point is there are no duplicates in S. If axi mod n is equal to axj mod n, then xi will be equal to xj. Therefore, summation of I equal to 1 to phi of n, axi mod n will be equal to summation of I equal to 1 to phi of n xi. Summation of I equal to 1 to phi of n axi will be equal to summation I equal to 1 phi of n xi mod n. A to the power phi n summation I equal to 1 to phi of n xi will be equal to phi of summation of I equal to 1 to phi of n xi mod n. Therefore, a to the power phi of n is congruent to 1 mod n. So, this completes the proof of Euler's theorem. Next, we'll learn about primality testing. For many cryptographic algorithms, it is necessary to select one or more very large prime numbers at random. Thus, we are faced with the task of determining whether a given large number is prime. So, one of the attractive and popular algorithm is Miller-Rabin algorithm. The algorithm due to Miller and Rabin is typically used to test a large number for primality. Any positive odd integer n greater than or equal to 3 can be expressed as n minus 1 equal to 2 to the power k q, with k greater than 0 and q is odd and n minus 1 is an even integer. As per the Miller-Rabin primality testing algorithm, first we have to find the integers k, q with k greater than 0, where q is odd so that we can represent n minus 1 as 2 to the power k into q. Next step, we have to select a random integer a, where a is greater than 1 but less than n minus 1. Then we have to find a to the power q mod n. If it is 1, then we return inconclusive. So this step we have to repeat from j is equal to 0 to k minus 1. So if a to the power 2 to the power jq mod n will be equal to n minus 1, then we have to return inconclusive. Then or else we have to return composite. So these are the steps we have to follow when we are finding the prime, whether a particular number is prime or not. So we'll work out a numerical on this where you'll understand exactly how this algorithm works. Let us consider an example over here. Using Miller-Rabin primality testing, find whether n is equal to 53 is prime or not. So here n is equal to 53. So n minus 1 will be equal to 52. We have to represent n minus 1 in the form of 2 to the power k into q. So what we will do is we will divide 52 by 2. So I get it as 26. Now further, I will divide 52 by, I have to continue this till I get an odd number as an answer. 2 square. So I get this as 13. Next, 52 divided by 2 cube. So I get this as a fraction here. So this I cannot take. I will have to take third q as 13 over here. So I can represent this n minus 1 which is equal to 52 as 2 to the power 2 into 13. So according to this, k will be 2 and q will be 13. Continuing, next, now we have got k as 2 and q as 13. Now step 2, we have to select a. So a we have to select greater than 1 but less than n minus 1. So what we'll do, we'll pick a as 2, the smallest number we'll pick. Next, step 3 will be b naught is equal to a to the power q mod n. Now we know that a is equal to 2 we have selected and q is equal to 13. Mod of n is 53. So 2 to the power 13 mod 53 we get the answer as 30. V naught is equal to 30. Now if I get V naught as plus 1 then or minus 1 I will say it is a prime number. But here I have not got either plus 1 nor minus 1. So I have to continue further. So next I have to find B1. So B1 is equal to B naught square mod n. So B naught is 30. 30 square mod 53. So here this we get it as 52 mod 53. So I can write this 52 mod 53 as minus 1 mod 53. So here in this case B1 if I get it as plus 1 then it is a composite number. If I get it as minus 1 then it is a prime number. So here in this case I have got it as minus 1. Hence 53 is probably a prime number. This is the how we have to use Miller-Rabin test to find whether a particular given number is prime or not. Let us consider another example where n is equal to 61. So n minus 1 is equal to 60. Now we have to divide this 60 by 2 until we get an odd number. 60 by 2 is equal to 30. Then 60 by 2 square, I get it as 15. Continuing further, 60 by 2 cube, I get it as 7.5. So I don't know, I cannot consider this, I have to consider this. So now I can write. So this is step 1. So I can write n minus 1, that is 60 is equal to 2 square into 15, where k is equal to 2 and q is equal to 15. Step 2, we have to choose a where a is greater than 1 but less than n minus 1. we'll choose the smallest one. A is equal to 2. So coming to step 3. In step 3, we have to find B naught is equal to A to the power Q mod N. So A we have selected as 2 and Q is equal to 15 we have got and mod 61. So 2 to the power 15 we get it as 32,768 mod 61. So reducing this using mod we get this as 11 mod 61. So I neither get it as plus 1 or minus 1. So this is inconclusive. So we'll go to further next step. So B1 is equal to B naught square mod n. So B naught is 11 square mod 61. So 11 square mod 61, I get it as 60 mod 61, where we can write this 60 mod 61 as minus 1 mod 61. So from this now I get it as minus 1. Therefore I can write this as n is equal to 61 is a prime number. Let us consider next example. So here we have taken n is equal to 561. Now we have to check for the primality. So n is equal to 561. Therefore n minus 1 will be equal to 560. Now again dividing 560 by 2, I get it as 280. 560 by 2 square, we get it as 140. 560 divided by 2 cube, we get it as 70. 560 divided by 2 to the power 4, we get it as 35. 560 by 2 to the power 5, we get it as 35 by 2. So again here this is a fraction, so we consider here, see 35 is an odd number, so we can consider this. Therefore I get, so I can write 560 is equal to 2 to the power 4 into 35, where k is equal to 4 and q is equal to 35. Now next step 2 is again we have to select, step 2 is we have to select A. So A again will select the smallest one, A is 2 will select. Next is step 3. In step 3 we write B naught is equal to A to the power Q mod N. Now A is 2. Q we have got it as 35 mod 561. Now 2 to the power 35, if you do it in the calculator, you get a very huge number with exponentiation there. So what we'll do is we'll find all the powers of 2 mod 561. So first we'll consider 2 square mod 561. So we get this as 4. Next 2 to the power 4 mod 561. So we can write this as 4 into 4 mod 561, which is 16 mod 561. Further we go 2 to the power 8 mod 561. So we get it as 16 into, that is 2 to the power 4 into 2 to the power 4 mod 561. So we know that 2 to the power 4 mod 561 is 16 mod 561. So 16 into 16 mod 561. So we get it as 256 mod 561. Next 2 to the power 16 mod 561, which is 2 to the power 8 into 2 to the power 8 mod 561. So I can write it as 256 into 256 mod 561. which we get it as 460 mod 561. So 2 to the power 16, we got it as 460 mod 561. Next we will take 2 to the power 32 is equal to 2 to the power 16 into 2 to the power 16 mod 561, which I can write it as 460 into 460 mod 561. So we get this as, after calculation, 103 mod 561. So further, now here what B naught, we had it as 2 to the power 35 mod 561. So I can split it up and write it as 2 to the power 32 into 2 to the power 2 into 2 mod 561. So 2 to the power 32, from previous calculation we know that it is 103 into 2 square is 4 into 2 mod 561. So finally we get this as 824 after multiplication as 824 mod 561. So further reducing this, we get it as 263 mod 561. Again this is inconclusive, so we have to go one step further. So B1 is equal to B naught square mod 561, that is B naught we got it as 263, 263 square mod 561. So here we get this as 166 mod 561. Again this is also inconclusive, so we have to go next. Now we have to find B2. So B2 is equal to B1 square mod 561. What is B1? B1 we've got it as 166. So 166 square mod 561. So here 166 square mod 561, we get as 67 mod 561. Again this is inconclusive, so we go one step further. B3. B3 is equal to B2 square mod 561. So B2 is 67. So 67 square mod 561. So this we get it as 1 mod 561. So we got the answer as 1. So if we get it as minus 1, it is prime. Since we have got it as plus 1, this is a composite number. So this is how we have to find how we have to use Miller-Rabin test, primary test, to check whether a given number is prime or not. We have worked out 3 numerical problems. So I think by now you are able to understand what is Miller-Rabin primality testing algorithm. Thank you.